Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pura Vida podcast. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, Erica Peters, and I'm so happy to be back with another episode with another guest. I'm so loving speaking to all these beautiful humans who are in my circle, and I'm getting to know them even more through this podcast. So it's amazing. And not only do I get to do that, but it also helps you to listen as well. I thank you for tuning in, and we are Pura Vida Wellness Studio located on South Detroit Avenue, right next to Ernest Brew Works. And we have many class offerings: yoga, meditation, Reiki, sound healing. We have multiple class offerings throughout the entire week, yin yoga, etc. And we strive to be an accessible yoga studio, accessible and affordable. Our memberships are very affordable. We have a $30 a month membership, and that gets you all access to the yoga classes here at Pura Vida. Any class on the schedule, you can come just for $30 per month. And then our Mind Body Soul membership is $60 per month. And this one is more of the mind-blowing membership because not only do you get access to all of the yoga classes, but you also get a one-on-one monthly service. So it's taking care of your whole being all at once for one accessible price of $60. And the one-on-ones include massage therapy, sound therapy, or Reiki. So you can choose between those and you can interchange each month. And so we would love to see you here at Pura Vida. Please stop in. One announcement I want to make before we move into our episode today is we have a sound healing training coming up in April. It's April 25th through the 27th. I would love to have you join. I did do an episode on that. If you want to look back at that episode, it's on YouTube and Spotify. I would love to have you join though for the training. Sound and music has been a huge part of my life, if not my whole life. And I just can't wait to share it. This has been a long time coming. And if you are inclined to join that weekend, if you have any questions before, please reach out to me before you sign up, and I will answer all your questions. So let's dive into the episode. Let me introduce our guest today. She just started teaching at Pura Vida, and I have known her for a little while before. I've taken one of her classes at Ordinary Pioneer a couple years ago now, and I am just super excited to have her on the podcast. She's so bubbly and friendly, and Luca, our studio mascot, just adores her. And she adores him too. And it's been so great having you, Kaitlyn. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And Luca is my serious favorite.
I I swear every time Luca especially loves you, but every time she comes into the studio, every time you come in, it's like Luca and her have this whole moment, you guys. It's a whole moment every time. And he's a little grumpy butt in the morning, but Kaitlyn has a way of waking him up.
I try my best. I really do.
Yep. But we've enjoyed having you, and we've had such good feedback from everybody who is taking your classes. You're already getting a few regulars, which is awesome. I want to ask you, I know you made a recent transition out of corporate. Do you want to talk a little bit on that?
Yeah, that'd be great. Um, Thanks for having me here, of course, and at Pura Vida. It's been wonderful. So, but yeah, I made a recent transition. It was half planned, half not planned. It's been really interesting. I have made two transitions into yoga before in my life. So my first one was I was a social worker and I worked at two different places for 6 to 7 years between the two of them. I worked with domestic violence and sexual assault survivors, and then also with the elderly. Both very rewarding. It's amazing to help people who need it most in those different populations. And I loved social work, and social work was really hard on my heart and on my body and on my mind. I'm an extremely compassionate person, And it's really hard to create that boundary, to create that separation. So I transitioned out of social work into yoga, shockingly, in 2020. In January of 2020, I left my social work job. I was ready to be in the yoga world and try to make, teaching and being part of a studio and, then later working at Lululemon and all that. And it
I
was,
didn't know you worked there.
yeah, I loved working at Lululemon. It's probably one of my most fun jobs other than
That's awesome.
first. It was honestly so fun to just hang out with coworkers to help people, find outfits that they felt really good in. And it was really cool the team that they have there and the way that they do things and they do check-in. Like it was just really, really great. I loved working at Lululemon. So sometimes I think like maybe I can go back for a day or two. And I'm like, girl, you don't got time.
Yeah, yep. It's
But so yeah,
hard to balance it all, isn't it?
it really is. And when you're driving, to go there and then other places, it becomes a lot. It really
It
does.
does. Yeah.
So yeah, I tried that, the first time and it worked in ways and ebbs and flows until it just simply didn't. And then I needed to go to my corporate role. Excuse me. And that helped me heal and having a regular schedule again. That helped me let things go. It helped me have the time to really learn how to take care of myself. And I'm so grateful. And then I realized I don't want to sit behind a desk. I don't want to sit behind a desk and have to do this work for someone else to to help these people just, acquire certain things or certain, products. And
That's a good way to put it.
it's
I've
not,
never heard anyone say it like that, but that's exactly what it is.
yeah, and it's not bad because,
No.
you do need, like, you need insurance, you need this, you need that. But
We have to live, right? Yeah, we have to have our basic needs.
and we have to be part of this society in ways. I mean, we all kind of want to take ourselves and go over here and be like,
Yeah.
but there's things that help you feel comfortable that are a part of a society. So helping people get that wasn't the problem. It was just, you know, no matter where you go, no matter how great a place is, there's always things that just don't feel good for, at least personally, for someone like me who is noticing all the energy in the space, all the different personalities, and just the things that people do to get themselves where they want to be, which a lot of times is on the top. It's a very competitive atmosphere, and anything competition based after a while just rubs me the wrong way. Um,
Hmm.
because it's not filled with love. It just isn't. It's not
It's not.
support for each other. And so I was starting to think that I maybe this isn't for me and I need to consider maybe leaving in the beginning of 2025 and finding something else. And at the end of 2024, the universe was like, okay, so you've acknowledged that this isn't your forever place. Grateful for you to do that. And then it said, you know what? We're not going to allow you to make a plan. Because if you make a plan, then you're just going to go to another job that's maybe less corporate but still like a company. And you're going to just keep up with this cycle when you really need to be creating and doing your own thing. And so the universe was like, here, let me just boot you out. So it just happened. Let me just boot you out gracefully, as gracefully as you can get booted out, and plop you into the space of trust yourself, trust yourself, and do it. And that was the only energy I was feeling when leaving. I was like, I'm not scared at all. I'm not worried
That's
that
amazing.
I don't like, I have no idea what guides, what ancestors were working with the divine in those moments, but I felt so secure and in the right mind that I was like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I have no clue what's coming, but I am supposed to do something that is built from me, that is built from my heart, because that's the only way I'm going to feel satisfied with what I am doing is if I'm actually helping people in the ways that I've learned how, which is yoga and energy and just healing in all forms. So it
Absolutely.
was a wild transition, but I'm so grateful for it. I'm
Yeah.
where it should be.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that story. And yeah, I was actually just talking with somebody about this, the whole corporate world thing. And we use this word corporate, but we all ultimately benefit from corporates, right? Like at some point, like, and so they're not all evil, but there is a lot of evil within them, right? But I, so I just make that little disclaimer, but I was just talking about this with somebody where, because I always question myself, where I also left the corporate world. I was an accountant and I was also booted out, but I was booted out due to the company going under. Everybody lost their job, every single person. And so I had a decision to make, right? If should I go back into the accounting world, or should I do yoga? And should I just go for this? And obviously we see what path I chose. And I was just sitting there talking to somebody about this, and they asked me the question. They were like, just imagine yourself back in, like, just imagine yourself if you went back to the accounting world and you went to your desk every day, you woke up, you went to your desk every day, you typed numbers, and then you went home. And I just like thought about that for a second. And she was like, you're making six figures, but just imagine that. And I thought about it for a second and I was like, everything sounds terrible except for six figures. And I was just like, I can't, there's no way I could do that. And unless if I literally had to, which I don't see a way that I would have to do that. But anyways, like, so I started thinking about this and just the corporate world in general. And in the corporate world, you mentioned competition, and it's like every man's for themselves and like F everybody else, right? And I feel like in the healing world and in a lot of people's hearts, what like we don't want to just walk on everybody just to get up to the top of the ladder. We don't want that in the healing world. We want to lift both ourselves and each other up. It's not just like one or the other, right? So yeah, thank you for sharing that. So what challenges have you and what rewards have you faced like during this most current transition? It's super current. You want to tell people like when this happened?
So yeah, this is very, very, very current. So this happened within the last 2 to 3 weeks of December of 2024. So this was like literally the end of last year. And technically, I stopped working there 2 weeks before the very end of the year, but was so gratefully paid out through the end of the year by my boss. He was really fantastic, and he handled everything with care and grace. So I'm really appreciative of that. And so as of then, I've been in creation mode and seeing, what am I doing, and who am I helping, and who do I reach out to find out if I can help them. And so it's been, I think the most challenging thing is when the doubt comes in every day, challenging that and being like, I have this, I'm going to be fine. And as scary as this can be in moments when the doubt does come in, your gut has been steady. My gut has been steady this whole time. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to make the connections I need, and I'm going to grow into something that is truly meant to represent my heart and what I'm passionate about. So the challenge is the doubt and the fear, because it feels like it's never going to stop coming up. But since this has happened, it's already come up less and less.
Yeah.
It still comes up maybe once a day at this point. I'll have like a thought, but having like a 30-minute to an hour long dread session isn't
Yeah.
happening anymore. Because like
Yep.
you have to think like, okay, I have abandoned a steady income
Yeah.
to a completely unsteady income. And there are plenty of ways to make money, which I've found out in this transition, which has been which is probably one of the more positive sides of of this. There are so many weird, odd, silly ways to make money on the side while you build something, that still gives me freedom to change it up when I need to and be like, no, I need a rest day, or I'm really in creation mode. Let me focus on, building the website or creating posts or whatever. So that's been really, it's been a nice foundational piece of it, knowing that I have friends, I have, the internet to find, Google search odd jobs, and like they will come up, and I have all these random skills and ways of supporting people that I've been able to use. So I'm like, hey, I'm good. I'm all set.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, having that faith is hard. It is so hard sometimes, especially when, like you said, like you have those half an hour to 2 hour dread sessions, sometimes whole day, I'm sure. And like, yeah, sometimes it's hard to pull yourself up out of that, but especially by yourself. But that's the biggest thing too, is like like surrounding yourself by like-minded people. And that's what I have for sure known that I have had to do ever since I owned a business. It's just like I have to have that community around me. If I don't, I'm going down. Like we all got to lift each other up at the same time, and I can't do it by myself. And so as much as you have to have those talks with yourself. It's like also leaning on that support of the community too. And you have the community here at Pura Vida to lean on now. Do you want to talk about your how you started teaching here and what your experience has been so far?
Yeah, that'd be great. And I love that you touched on, the support systems. It's, oh my God. I have so many friends, and you realize it in moments like these. I have so many beautiful friends, and now I have beautiful friends at Pura Vida. It's been so fun teaching there. So the funny, silly way that I came to teach at Pura Vida is there was a teacher who needed less on her schedule, because she's actually blossoming into some really beautiful things that needed to happen for herself too, which is incredible. And she's like, "Hey, does anybody want to take these 2 morning classes?" And I'm like, "You know what? I can wake up. I can teach people poses in the morning. I used to do it and I miss it." And then, we all got to talking, and we put those 2 classes on the schedule, and I've just been coming and showing up. And the ladies that come to those morning classes are so much fun and filled with so much heart. Even if they're totally dead silent that morning, they're feeling it or they've had a rough day. The amount of pure, open, free, safe energy that comes from them has been so amazing. You have really created a space that makes people feel secure in showing up however they need to show up and truly coming for the healing that they need, not even just the movement or the chat or the community, the connection. It's really their heart can lead the way, can walk in the door first and be excited, be content, be broken, and it's going to welcome them in whether they need to talk or not. They're good, they're safe. And seeing that and experiencing that and them welcoming me in has been so much fun. And I love that my class it's we just call it a morning flow. So if one morning I'm like, ooh, vibes are low, let's try to challenge that and maybe do extra planks or something. um,
Yeah.
but we need to feed it, and we need to do more restorative postures for half of the class and only a little movement. It allows me to really gauge what's going on. And it's been fun to, when I pop in something a little more challenging, to see what they do and how they handle it. And then after they're like, oh, dang, that felt so good. They don't
Mm-hmm.
question, they just try it and they go for it. And if it doesn't feel right, they just come out of it. And it's been so magical witnessing that with the folks at Pura Vida. It's been so, so cool.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And we appreciate you so much as well. And you create that space too. And for people to heal, you're so very open to, though everybody's energy, and you can read, seems like you're able to read that room well. And it's just yeah, it's beautiful to have you as a part of the Pura Vida family because that is that is what we strive for here is just, come as you are and leave as you are. It's hopefully you leave feeling better because that's obviously the goal. But it's totally that type of community. Just come as you are and hopefully heal. And just continue on your practice and on your journey. But yeah, we are so happy to have you here, and you are blooming already here. You have 3 classes now. So you're teaching 2 morning flow classes and yin yoga now and sound at night. Um, and and you're also getting ready to launch a book club. Well, we've already launched it, and your sunflower spirit Reiki, which I'm so happy to have here as well. And I can't wait to come to one of them. Um, I'm so sad because your first book club, I'll be out of town. I'm hoping to join in virtually, but I love the book Big Magic. So good. That's like one of my favorite books. But do you want to ask why you decided to start a book club and what do you hope to achieve within it? And also you have your own virtual book club as well, if you want to talk on that.
Yeah. So I love books. I really do. So I get jazzed about talking about books. So I attempted a book club, these are all nonfiction books, is probably what we'll do. Ones that help bring new awareness, healing practices, just, questioning the way you think about things. Books that are inspiring, hopefully, or as some people call them, self-helpy, but take what you need, leave what you don't. You don't need to love all pieces of the book or the book at all. I mean, you could come and be the one person that hates it, and your perspective will bring something that we maybe all need to consider because we've all been conditioned in different ways. And so the way we view things is what makes these conversations so incredible and so amazing. So, and that's really why I wanted to do an in person book club because we all have things to share. We are all teachers to each other, even if we don't regularly lead healing sessions or groups or whatever in any way. But we all have information and experiences that bring new light to maybe an experience that I've had or you've had or someone else has had. And they didn't realize that if they looked at it just this slightly different way, their healing might be in that space where they can let go of what's really been holding them back and finally feel at peace and just recognize it as I had this experience. This is how it made me feel, but I'm now free from that. So the book club is really just to try to tap into those different things and just to get ourselves thinking and talking and being more open about what it means to be connected, spiritual, really anything because the books could be about anything. And I picked Big Magic first because we're all in this really big creation space right now. It's not just me and my transition. There are a lot of other people feeling that energy, tapping them and saying, hey, is it time for you to really do what you want? And a lot of people are jumping on board, maybe not in huge ways, but in small ways. And that energy, that magic is what that book talks about and trusting that process and being in that moment and trusting in creation and being creative. So I really wanted to pick one that was kind of the vibe of the world right now, at least some of the vibe I'm noticing. So I wanted to pick Big Magic to just spark people's creative spirit and I don't know, maybe we'll end up all having, creation sessions together. I know there's some things in the works and I'm just excited. I think it's going to be really great to connect through through books and through ideas.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited. And what better book than Big Magic, especially for your specific, like you said, your specific transition and journey. Like it's basically kind of your book right now right now. But yeah, also the world and what's happening in the world, and how this energy is just like interweaving between everybody right now. And it's so cool to watch. I'm also noticing the same thing. It's very cool to watch and to see. And yes, we will have creation sessions together. So starting the third week in April, this is a good time to mention this. We will have number one, two things. The first thing is um, a co-creative workspace on Mondays from 1 to 4, and then on Mondays from 5 to 7 will be a co-creative, like, bring what you're working on space as far as your creativity goes. So you could be working on a painting, anything arts and crafts, a painting. I'll always probably be working on beach glass art. As many of you know, that's like my favorite thing. Um, but so we will be creating together and co-creating, and this is a beautiful way to get those creative juices going, as well as attending Kaitlyn's book club, because like she said, um like there's so many nuggets in that book, because I've read the book already. It's so good, but there's so many nuggets in that book that just kind of nudge you into like tapping into your creativity, tapping into that want and need inside of you, to be your own creator, and um, to follow like the own inner niggle that you have. And I think it's such a good way to tap into that by talking with others, because when you said that some people may have one perspective and some people will have another perspective, like that is the beauty of book clubs. It's like it's almost just like a healing circle, honestly. I mean, you start to get to know other people, you start to make friends, you start to connect soul to soul on different topics, and it's just a beautiful vibe. Like, I love book clubs and I can't wait for it. So so why, like, what actually got you drawn into books? Like, have you always loved to read?
Yes, I have always loved to read. Although I did take, when I was younger, I used to read a lot. You know, the book fairs that used to go to
Yep.
school. You'd be like, Mom, I need money. I'm going to
Captain Underpants,
this
man.
plastic book fair. So I would always go to those and I loved picking out books. And I read for quite a while. And then I think I took a break maybe towards the end of middle school into high school. You know, the drama of, being in puberty and being a teenager and being angsty and, so I
That
didn't read as much then. But then when I went into college, I started reading again. And I, it just feels like an adventure to me. And of course, there's books that are geared towards specific adventure, but I love reading because it makes you feel like you have more connections, more friends, more people to learn from, and stories to experience. And depending on the genre, you can put different kind of hats on. If you want to be, like a detective and follow along in a mystery novel, you can put that hat on and just have fun, even if you don't really like try to figure it out, but you get to feel like you're watching, a documentary from the sidelines, and you're seeing every piece, all the family members being crazy and all this stuff. Um, and it's just a way for me to connect with other people too. I have most of my friends read in some way. Some of them stick more to, the spiritual self-help books, but I have a plenty of other friends who like to read fiction novels. And I have my own actual in-person book club now that meets in person. We just had our first meeting the other day.
yeah.
It was so much fun. It's, a handful of my friends, and I'm like, invite whoever you want, invite, whatever. And I'm like, if you don't end up reading the book, but you want to come and you don't care about getting spoilers, come hang out. Like, it's totally fine. So I'm probably gonna, invite some more people if they want to just pop in when we meet. So it's just a fun way to talk to people and have fun. And I have, I'm creating book content on the internet now, and it's such a vibe. It's such a vibe. Book people are literally so much fun. On we call it book talk or TikTok. I've never touched TikTok until 2025. I said, this is the year of just let's go for it. So I created one and I've been posting about books ever since. And there's people that, comment on all my videos and they're like, oh, I loved that one. Or you should try this one. And it's really fun to just share and be excited about the same thing. So I love books.
That's awesome. And I love book talk. Book talk. I also just started TikTok in 2025. Like I haven't touched it before then. So that's interesting. But yeah, it is a whole vibe. Like it's awesome. My friend from college, her name's Mariah. She loves books. She's always loved books, and she has a TikTok all about books. And I follow her, and she is like constantly posting just whatever, like her library, her organizing her books. She's posting like, all the things, and I just love watching it. It's just satisfying, and it's just satisfying to watch people do what they love, I guess. Um, what's your favorite genre and or authors?
This is tough because I don't know if you've heard of the term mood reader.
Yeah.
I'm a total mood reader. Uh, Depending on how I'm feeling is kind of what book I want to read. So lately, my favorite has been like rom-com romance, the funny romance, which I never thought I would say. I was always like, why do we want to read this? But then I found, because I thought they were all like super intense romances where it was just like too much, too many pieces of information that I maybe, which if that's what you like, go for it. I mean, a touch of that, fine. But then I found rom-com and I found myself cracking up, holding a book, sitting in my apartment alone. I'm like, what's going on? And I love them. I love them so much. And then of course the relationships sometimes are very unrealistic. The people are always, hot and, have muscles and whatever. And but it's cool to see the way different authors write those really.
Yeah.
So rom-com is probably it, but I've always loved mystery thrillers and I'm getting into fantasy, but I
Ooh.
with all the names and the places. They
Yeah.
weird long words and I'm dyslexic and it's tough. It's hard.
Yep. I feel that. Yeah. I feel like that's literally the reason why I have not gotten into fantasy because it's just like I cross my eyes and I'm just like, wait a minute. What's happening again? Like I can't read this name and yeah,
You
so
make up a name and then you hear somebody else talk about it and it sounds completely different and you're like, wait, what?
right. Who?
Yeah, who are you talking about?
Yeah. Like Ari no, just kidding.
One of the best.
Yeah, oh my God. My boyfriend and I just went to Universal Studios not too long ago, a couple months ago. Love Harry Potter World. Jesus Lord, it's so cool. But well, that's cool. You got into rom-com. I feel like I've always like literally I've always read self-development, self-help books. So I think I need to start branching because it's like, all right, Erica, you've helped yourself. Like let's just like enjoy something, okay? Um, so yeah, it's time for me to branch out for sure. But
I got you. I've got all I know. I know the light ones. I got it.
yay. Yeah, I'll have to get all these recommendations from you. Do you have any, like, for the listeners, any book recommendations? Like, maybe one for a couple moods?
Yeah, so my one of my favorite all-time authors in the mystery thriller area is Ruth Ware. I have every single one of her books and I really like the vibe and the tone and the setting that she sets. So any of her books are good. In a Dark Wood and The Woman in Cabin 10 are her first two and I think about them still to this day.
Ooh,
Incredible. Um One of my favorite rom-coms is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. I've read that book. I just finally read it last year, and I think I've read it like 5 or 6 times since.
What? Oh,
I
I gotta watch that. Or watch. I gotta read that.
well, you can create pictures in your brain.
Yeah.
Really, really love that one. And then Emily Henry's a really good romance author. Happy Place is my favorite one that she's written. It's really raw and real on how your life and your upbringing can affect your relationships. And if you don't recognize that and don't do anything about it, like what it could do until you do finally realize, like, oh, I need to actually talk about this with my partner. And it was really, I just really loved it. So, and then,
That
I,
sounds amazing. Maybe my boyfriend and I should read that.
oh, you should. That'd be
That'd
fun.
be awesome.
Buddy read.
Yeah.
Um, the other one would be TJ Klune. He is one of my top authors. He actually writes fantasy, but it's very accessible. It's not, there's not too many crazy names, none of that. So his one book, The House in the Cerulean Sea, became really, really popular. And I have also read that book like 5 or 6 times. I read it once a year since I read it a couple years ago, at least once, sometimes twice. But he has the audio narrator for his books. He's got two different audio narrators. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. One of them's David something, and he does every voice himself for all of the billions of characters in those books, and he does such a good job, cracking up, laughing. So it's so funny the way he does some of the voices, and they fit the characters so well. So TJ Klune's really, really good. Um,
Ooh.
so yeah, and there I have plenty more recommendations. I could talk for ages, like historical fiction and all that jazz. But yeah, those are all great. Mystery, thriller, romance, a little bit of light fantasy with some humor, but also PJ Clune's books really get into what society is up to and channel
Mm.
societal views. Um, but putting it in this fantasy world that's very similar to ours and gets you thinking without realizing that you're like, whoa, the way that our world does that is not okay. And we need to challenge it. And it's just really cool the parallels that he does and the way that he does it. It just, oh, really gets you.
Sounds so good. I'm going to listen back to this and so that I can write those down and read them. That sounds all of them sounded so good. And especially like the happy one, big happy.
Happy.
What Oh, happy place. Yeah, I don't know what big magic and happy, I guess is what I but yeah, happy place. That sounds really good. But all of them sound so good. It would be fun maybe to do like a couples book club, like where we read something like that and then couples come and but that could
Get
go
out of
yeah, that could go two ways, but it could be fun. But anyways, so I have so many more questions, but we will have to wrap up. I do have one more question. Do you write? So, or do you just like to read?
So I keep thinking I want to write, and then I haven't really sat down and done it. But there are, I can't tell you how many random one pages of just a random story in my head that I've plopped down on the page. So it doesn't feel immediate right now that I tried again, but there's potential that I might write a fiction book one day. Who knows?
That'd be awesome. I mean, I'm assuming you're very connected to the power of words, so that'd be cool. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any last thoughts, Caitlin, for either living a fulfilling life or just any advice you'd like to share with the listeners? Any last little tidbits?
Yeah. So what's been coming up lately, which is very fitting for myself and a lot of other people that I've been in contact with in classes, is just simply try it. Even if it's just a tiny small way, even if it's just coming to a yoga class or even trying an online yoga class, YouTubing it, YouTubing a meditation. If you're looking for ways to feel better in your life, you likely need to go inward in some way. And that is terrifying. It is very scary, I know, but you will also be okay. There's nothing in you that you can't overcome and you can't heal from, while it also still might show up over and over again. Sometimes healing is a never-ending journey with a certain topic, and it's just about finding the right things that support you. And if you haven't found it yet and you're like, where else should I turn? Try a yoga class, try meditation. I think that you might find so much more in it than you realize. And if you try a yoga class, don't just do it once. Do it a couple times, because a lot of people who go to their first class, either in person or at home online, and they're like, whoa, that was hard, or that was more challenging than I thought, because yoga's hard.
It
The
is.
muscles you use are muscles you've maybe never used before, and you feel so good at the end, though, physically. So imagine doing that consistently and creating your breath practice while you're moving. You tap into things that you didn't realize were accessible to you, as well as that needed your attention so that you can love yourself deeper. So go a couple times, try it a couple times. Yoga is a practice, so just going once, like once a year, mm, you gotta go a few more times than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just encourage everybody to try some form of movement or healing modality that they've never done before, or try different teachers, try different studios. Like, find where home feels good to you, because if one place isn't it, the next place might be, and it's okay to take time to figure that out, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, please always feel into your body, listen to your body. That's what yoga is all about. And whatever feels good in your body, do that. And yeah, so I love that. Thank you for sharing your beautiful wisdom and knowledge with the world. I am so happy that you came on the podcast, and I just appreciate you so much, and I appreciate everything that you are stepping into, and I'm watching you, and I know that things are hard at first, and I feel that, but you are moving into a beautiful bloom, so to speak, because it's spring, right? So you're moving into this beautiful bloom, and it's just gonna keep on flowering. And I'm just so happy that you're here at Pura Vida, and we're all happy. And we can't wait to. We'll have to get an instructor group together because we have, a few new instructors slash instructors leaving. So I think it's time. But anyways, we'll talk about that after the podcast. But thank you again for coming on. And yeah,
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me and just being a support in my life. It's been amazing. It's been so wonderful.
awesome. Well, thank you everybody for listening again to the Pure Vita podcast, and we'll see you in next week's episode. Namaste.
Namaste.